I'm very happy that we're here together with a panel of experts and friends who are a founder, an operator, and a venture capital investor. But apart from that, run very interesting initiatives around the German startup ecosystem.
Thank you very much for having me here. My name is Gloria Nikwe. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Comeso. With Comeso, we redefine remittances and empower access to healthcare. In addition, I'm also founding member of IDEA. IDEA is a startup ecosystem supporting Black founders in Germany.
I'm Simona. I'm the CFO at Tactile, a B2B SaaS fintech. In parallel, I founded 7 years ago the Finance Leaders League. It's a network for finance leaders, where we have more than 500 VP and CFOs from the German tech scene. And I started the CFO Playbook. It's a newsletter about modern finance.
Hi, I'm Gülçe Wilke. I'm the co-founder of Two Hearts, Europe's largest platform and community for migrant founders. We have more than 3,000 members across Europe with 150 nationalities. I'm also a partner and head of Germany for DN Capital, which is a venture capital firm with 1 billion assets under management. And last but not least, talking about side activities, I am also an extended board member of the German Startup Association.
Yeah, so 3 very impressive careers. Thank you for sharing this. And looking back now at the German startup ecosystem, I mentioned, when I joined the ecosystem here, I moved back from Australia to Berlin in 2012. It was, still a nascent industry, and we all know each other for a long time. I think we even know us from back those days. What has been your perception of the ecosystem? How has it developed?
Yeah. So maybe when I started to work for SoundCloud, it was in 2011. What you said, it was next to Rocket, but the first company where we get money from the US. We attract a lot of talent from the US. So that was the beginning, but I would say very calm. Then HelloFresh, Rocket was also huge companies, but not this high growth. And then it was really a roller coaster. I like Tier and Gorillas. We grew, there was tons of money. We grew within 1 year. We had 10 entities. At Gorillas, we had more than 16,000 employees. A lot of good talent came out of this company. And we said always it was like a mini MBA for us. Because we were thrown on so many topics. And I think that was great for the Berlin or for the German ecosystem in general, to attract a lot of good talent.
And now, we've covered a bit the past and the way to the status quo. So currently, what do you see as the hot topics, and what keeps you excited at the moment here in Germany in the ecosystem?
I see there is a trend towards tech and AI, especially digital transformations and initiatives or innovations that are contributing to efficiency in the B2B market. I can also tell that there is a trend towards initiatives like IDEA or Two Hearts that are seeing this untapped market potential and investing in underrepresented founders and Black founders in Germany. There is a huge potential towards this as well.
I would say definitely the application layer of AI. So I don't think Germany will be the location where you will see foundational models arising a lot. It will be more on how to efficiently apply AI either on consumer side or on the software side. I'm personally very excited about the application of AI in the digital health or healthcare sector at large, because it is a very inefficient and very difficult to access market for underrepresented groups. So I think AI has the chance to combine an immense impact and support with this through healthcare, but also in other sectors, people that don't have premium access. You see it in the US, but also more and more see it in Germany. Secondly, I do think that as a country, but also as a startup ecosystem, we recognize that we have to master the energy transition. So we cannot be dependent on Russia anymore, and this is nothing new, but we need to be very innovative. And here the German tech startup landscape can play a pivotal role. And we do see a lot of companies that are trying to support homeowners, but also individuals in better managing their energy supply. And last but not least, I am personally very excited about the future of work and how the intersection of AI and actual labor will increase the productivity in societies like Germany, where we are aging and where we need at least 400 to 500,000 additional workforce to keep our economy up and running.
So we've talked a bit about, Germany being a good fertile ground for startup, for innovation. So what do you think is Germany doing right? I mean, we are based here in Berlin. I mean, obviously startup ecosystem has developed here over the last 10 years, but also we see startup hubs in other cities, of course, emerging. And maybe Gülşah, for you as a member of the German Startup Association, that's a good question to start with you.
Definitely. So first of all, we are one of, if not the strongest economy in Europe. So startups that start their business here have always a very strong relationship and proximity to big incumbents that they can either support with strategic but also monetary advice. So this helps a lot in certain industries. This may be in healthcare, but this may be also in different other areas. Secondly, we have a very strong university setup. So excellence in terms of engineering and other areas is definitely here. We are not very good yet in transitioning that into startups, but I see it as an opportunity. So the university and research landscape in Germany is very strong. And last but not least, the government with the WIN initiative that has been also communicated in partnership with the German Startup Association and led by KfW, just announced that 13 billion of capital for the next years has been committed to invest in the German startup scene. So there will be, I wouldn't say necessarily enough if you compare it to the US, but there will be capital available to these startups, which is also a huge plus for our location.
Gloria?
Yes, I can absolutely agree with that, especially because I came from university studies. I experienced the ecosystem and initiatives that support innovations from universities. Mias, for example, received the Gründerstipendium NRW that contributed a significant impact in my entrepreneurial journey. There are also other research programs such that supports innovations and founders in their early stages, such as Exist, or for example, IDEA, that targets directly Black founders with equity-free capital to support their entrepreneurial journey.
Good, and we talked a lot about positives in Germany. Obviously, there's always room for improvement. So if you had a wish list, what would you improve here in Germany?
So I wish that there are more role models. I also believe that in my entrepreneurial journey, I noticed that there are not the right trainings in the niche that I'm targeting when it comes to regulations. So more niche-orientated workshops targeting the solution that we are trying to solve.
And Simone, do you see any improvements here in the German startup system that you would?
Well, yeah, I think in general it's often very German, the bureaucracy and what annoys me personally also, what we hear from CFOs who relocated from the US, for example, to Germany. To open a company, to close a company takes forever. Nobody understands what to do, which tax requirements, etc., etc. And I think this whole data protection GDPR topic, it's important, but I think it's also a blocker for companies, for cloud solutions, or people are also scared to use ChatGPT, because now I think you have there easy solutions to have an enterprise account or whatever, but I think that's a topic, no? And it's easier in other countries, also in the EU and especially in the US.
I think, that's a regulation topic, but also cultural topic, obviously, here.
Cultural, I think, as well, yeah.
Gülşah, what are the improvement topics that you see?
Yeah, definitely talent, capital, and regulation. And I'm trying to not repeat what you guys said and try to bring in also new perspectives. In Germany, especially when we go to later stages and exit, Germany is not good. Only every 10th individual in Eastern Germany and every 5th individual in Western Germany is actually invested in capital markets. What does that mean? There is no awareness of the popularity and the chances of investing. So we are a country that very much relies on safe options like the German Sparbuch. But in order to have strong exit and capital markets for the tech companies that then don't move to the US like BioNTech did, we need capital markets to be strong to get this access for startups. So I would say capital, especially in later stages, is super important. And last but not least, regulation. I mean, I experienced it firsthand when it comes to the digital health or the health sector at large. So with Ada Health, we were considered or are still a medical device. So we had to do a regulatory audit of around a year with almost half of the company. Whereas in the US, for innovative companies, there is the so-called FDA discretion, which lets you just fulfill certain criteria, and that's about it. So we have 1 year in Germany versus going through a checklist in the US. This is an extreme case, but I do think that in some aspects, when it comes to regulation, Germany can be a bit more tech and early stage company friendlier.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, very interesting insights again. And to switch gears a bit, we get more to your personal journey now. What are your goals for the next 12 months? What exciting things are you working on? Roya.
As a founder, my goal is to show Comeso, to build Comeso as a very strong company and to show the potential, the market potential with the solution that we are providing with Comeso. My personal wish is that with IDEA, I hope to inspire more Black founders within the startup ecosystem.
These are great goals. Very good. Simona, over to you.
For me personally, it's really this CFO Playbook, what we started, this newsletter, to really convince finance people who are often culturally not the ones who are saying, yay, I want to go away from my Excel and use tools, to bring that new world that is coming to them and explain the advantages,
in your finance group,
in the finance group,
tools,
exactly,
new way to work together.
And this newsletter that we started.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's and really to understand this whole AI in finance topic, because that's also a black box. I think that's a lot of people are talking about it, but nobody understands it yet.
Okay, very good. Good job.
Yeah, so my personal ambition is to prove and also to spot the best founders irrespective of background, gender, origin, or let's say belief. I just changed that, think that the face of VC can also be changed in a more diverse way. So this is my objective, to serve as a role model here and just show that alternative deal sources, underrepresented founders, and just a different approach to VC can also lead to great investments and ultimately great exits and returns.
So this has been great. Thank you very much for the insights. Thanks for taking the time to sit down with us today and discuss. We will follow your paths very carefully in the future. And yeah, I hope we can come back together in this forum in a year's time and discuss the new trends then. Thank you very much.